Hey guys, this is Gaijin Hunter. I don't want to make too many videos beating this over the head, but I want to do one more follow-up video on the weapon designs which I covered in my last video, which was focusing on Brachydios. In this one we're going to go over the weapon designs for Narga Kouga, Glavenus, and Tigrex and see which ones made the cut. First up is Narga Kouga, which is beautifully implemented into the game. Unfortunately the greatsword is not. So right out of the gate, the greatsword looks similar silhouette-wise, but is definitely not the same weapon. Longsword gets the traditional weapon, which is good. Sword and Shield also retains its original iconic design, which is a little funny when you think about the next one, which is the dual blades. These are some of the most iconic weapons and they absolutely butchered it. Moving on, we do get the hammer, which is intact, which is good. The hunting horn is also looking very lovely. It's one of my favorite horns out there. But when we get over to the lance, which is supposed to be really sharp and pointy, they've pretty much destroyed it. And they didn't retain the original design for the gun lance as well. It's like an ore weapon. Once we go to switch axe, it does retain its nice metallic spikes, which I'm very happy to see because the switch axe got the bad stick on a lot of these. Charge blade I don't believe ever had a Nargacuga design, but this certainly is not it. They could have did so much better. Going over to insect glaive, they've gone ahead and changed the design once again. The light bowgun I don't think would have been too hard to use its original design, but it does appear that they have changed it as well. Which is a shame because the heavy bowgun does retain its original design and is certainly made out of Nargacuga parts. Overall, I think Narga was half and half, like half are misses, half are wins, but to me, the dual blades is the most iconic weapon for Nargacuga, so to see those things butchered of all weapons, it's just crazy. Which is a great lead-in for the next monster, which is Glavenus, which is also very, very well done. The greatsword though, its most iconic weapon, is not. I don't know why they chose of all weapons not to retain its original one, the greatsword. Longsword also misses its original design. This is a monster whose tail is a sword. These weapons were very iconic, so not happy to see those changes. Sword and shield as well looks horrible with the little slap on the bone design, when it had a really cool little design here. Interesting enough, once we move on to the next few weapons, we retain their awesome original designs. Here is the dual blades for Glavenus. Love the material texture on those blades, and both the hammer and the hunting horn retain their original designs. Happy for me, the lance does retain its nice little twisted original design, but the gun lance gets the bone treatment once again. Ugh, I really hate this. I don't know why they did this. Moving over to switch axe, which seems to be getting the bad cut of almost all these weapons, it's another one of those bone slap-on designs, which is unfortunate because if you see the original design here, it's very cool. Now we have some better news for you guys. The charge blade does retain its original design, which is good. Insect glaive was another one that was left untouched, as well as light bowgun and also the heavy bowgun. Now the bow is not a weapon that has a lot of parts, so this one really sticks out as a bone weapon, which is the bow for Glavenus. So another unfortunate ugly stick design. Traditionally, just like the Nargacuga, where I think the dual blades is the iconic weapon, Glavenus' tail is a greatsword, so the fact that they didn't use the original design for the greatsword, I think is really bad. Okay, moving over to Tigrex. That's right, it's not Tigrex, it's Tigrex in Iceborne, so I'm just going to use that pronunciation going forward. Out of all the returning monsters, this is probably the best one in terms of returning weapon design. Starting out, I am very, very happy to see that the greatsword retains its iconic design. Looks so good. Longsword as well, which I think is one of the more iconic weapons for this monster. Going on, the sword and shield also gets that awesome design with the claw sort of club. But the dual blades does get butchered with these weird, ugly chainsaw weapons, which I don't understand why they did it. Hammer looks great as always. No worry, the hunting horn is left intact as well. Great horn, by the way, you should really use it. So far, we're doing pretty good. Moving on to the lance, it has its original design as well as the gun lance. So good news for the Lance brothers. Unfortunately, switch axe got the bad cut yet again, and it's an ore weapon with a slap-on design. Charge blade is the main offender here. Very iconic design that was only introduced in 4th generation because that's when the charge blade came. Looks horrible. And the insect glaive never had a Tigrex weapon, but I could say this ain't it, chief. Smooth sailing for the rest of this though. The light bowgun, I believe that is the iconic design. The heavy bowgun, thank goodness they didn't change that because having the head of a Tigrex is great. And the bow also retains its original design as well. All of this is kind of frustrating, especially because the Palicos, which have awesome weapon designs, they didn't lose anything. This is the Nargacuga weapon design for the cats. Heck, even the Palicos got a great sword that is truly designed using Glavenus parts, unlike the actual great sword. They could just took this model and made it bigger and I would be happy. Even though they changed the design, at least it's made out of the monster's parts. Now I know I didn't show off the Brachydios weapons in my previous video, which is why I'm doing it for this one because it's feedback that I got from you guys, but it does have that nice exploding punch design for the cat, and it does get a miniature hammer for the Tigrex weapon. So all in all, I hope this video helps shed light on some of the returning monsters. I'm sorry I didn't do Barioth, but I think this gives a great overall picture of exactly how many weapons were redone. And if you look at this chart, the red are the ones that got the slap-on design. I think it's something like 45% of the weapons got this, where the other half are returning weapons. Tigrex overall fared the best and Narga Kouga the worst. However, I gotta say for weapons, it's not a very good day if you are a fan of returning designs and you are a switch axe user or a gun lance user or a dual blade user, because 3 out of 4 of these are bad designs. Just to put this out there one last time, because I don't plan on doing any more videos on this topic, but Iceborne is an absolute gem. It's a very good game, a very good expansion, so it just makes something like this even more frustrating because there's no really good reason for it. Now they could say that they have some other things that you can do with the weapons and don't get the original design, but it doesn't make it equal or better than having an iconic design that I think people love. For those of you new to Monster Hunter World, hopefully you appreciated me doing these side-by-side design comparisons so you know where we're coming from. And again, don't let this ruin your experience of getting Iceborne, but it is definitely something worth mentioning, and I hope they change it going forward. Small spoiler alert, I don't plan on making videos just showcasing unannounced monsters or the last boss in particular, but I have been censoring my videos and myself online like Twitter, where I don't mention them, but I'm going to be sort of lifting that restriction for the original sort of returning monsters or the variants, which I think you probably already know most of them. Those I'm going to wait until 2 weeks after launch, so next Friday. And last boss I won't even mention until at least a month. So once we're out at a month, about October 4th, I think it's going to be fair game where I might show a weapon in a video that is from it. But I'm not going to go making a video saying last boss and throw a thumbnail on it, because I know there's some people who would still appreciate not to be spoiled. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until next time, happy hunting.